WRKS Pickens Jackson.
All systems go.
Live from the Whiskey 61 Lounge inside the BankPlus Studio.
This is Out of Order.
Live in the studio.
It's the Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds. Streaming live worldwide on the Out of Bounds radio app. And on your radio at ESPN 105.9.
All set? Let's go.
The Zone.
Well, we're back. I thought it would be a football Friday, but Amani Larry and Casey Hunt decided to at least steal a little bit of the oxygen in the room for the show as Mississippi State walks off the Texas A&M Aggies last night. I don't know how many of you were watching it that are with us right now, but I actually stayed with it, and I couldn't believe it myself. We are the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. I'm wearing a little camo today. It's my Ben Adidas camo hoodie, and it's very, very nice. It's the only piece of camo that I own. It's spectacular, so if you want to see it, you can watch the show on YouTube. Search Out of Bounds Sports. Show is brought to you by the Golden Moon Casino Sportsbook and Lounge. Sportsbook and Lounge, full bar and food. Good place to watch SEC baseball today, the PGA Championship, and a little bit later, you can watch one of my favorite players, Jimmy Butler, with the Miami Heat as they tip off later today at 5:30, and that's the Heat and the Celtics. I'm cheering for Jimmy Butler and Pat Riley. So, talking about a well-run organization. We always talk about well-run athletic departments and or businesses. And the Miami Heat is one of those super, super well-run organizations. Not sure what the Golden State Warriors are doing right now, but I'm not going to get too far into that. Although I may compare them to the Dallas Cowboys here in a minute because there could be some nepotism going on within that organization that's going to clip them like it has the Cowboys for the better part of 30 years, because the Warriors have been on a great run the last decade, but you can make one mistake, whether it's nepotism or some kind of leadership spot, and all of a sudden you're out in no man's land. Ben Nelson Golf and Outdoors caller line, 601-707-3750. Twitter handle at BoBounds. And your Ag Up Equipment text line, 601-885-3776. It didn't come up on my site, but according to Good Morning Football, it's National Pizza Party Day.
Hello.
It wasn't on. I wish they would just all get on the same page, but evidently they can't. There's several different sites that have, I want to be able to celebrate, and there was some pizza at my house last night. I met a friend yesterday afternoon about 4 o'clock downtown near where I grew up in Belhaven, and it's good to catch up, and it'd been a while as he's extremely busy. And so I headed back up north to Madison, and when I'd left my house, there were about 12 kids out on the pontoon boat. My son,
hello,
hosting people. And then I got home, there was a bunch of pizza. I did not eat it, but it somewhat looked okay. I did walk in hungry. I walked in hungry because by the time I finished up the meeting, I walked in right about, not the meeting, we just hung out like as dudes. But as I walked in at like 6, I was hungry. And then I could have grabbed a piece of pizza, and the thin crust looked pretty decent from Domino's.
Oh.
And but I pivoted, and I threw some French fries in the oven.
Oh.
And I had a half a steak left, and I threw it in the cast iron.
Smart man.
Yeah.
That sounds better than
Well,
leftover pizza.
I knew if I had a piece of pizza, even thin crust, I may eat one more, then that would be it.
Yeah.
And that just didn't feel like Thursday night to me.
No, I get it. That makes sense.
And I actually forgot about the game in between this get-together. And my daughter was sitting up at the island. I was going to say bar, and then people would be like, Bo's hang out with his daughter at the bar. And she scrolled through, and she said, the game's about to start. And I was like, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's baseball today.
It had been a long day by 6 o'clock. But, so, yeah, that worked out really, really well. And I think that I made the right decision just throwing a few fries in the oven and throwing a steak on. I Pittsburghed it.
That's the way to go.
I just seared it.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
And it was rare to medium rare.
Yeah.
In the middle.
A little lighter than maybe normal, but still delicious. No, that's the way to go.
I wasn't like that committed to anything. You know what I'm saying?
I
It was
totally
kind of like,
understand.
let's just get it to where it'll be
Edible.
It's a good piece.
Yeah.
I'd picked up the steak from Flora Butcher. I knew it was going to be good.
Yeah, you can't go wrong there. You can have your pizza party today. It's National Pizza Party Day.
It's
so you can
National
do that.
Pizza Party Day.
Do you know the first record of pizza appearing in like human history in terms of the word pizza is 997 AD?
Really?
It's that far back. 997 AD. The word pizza first appears in Latin text, recorded Latin text.
That's incredible.
I know. I didn't know it was that old. 997.
It's actually hard to wrap your brain around
how far along that was. Yeah, how long ago that was.
Yeah.
The first pizza,
I can't.
First pizza parlor or pizza store.
Oh gosh, let me
in the U.S.
No, okay. Does it tell you the first pizza parlor in the Middle East? I mean,
No.
in Europe.
It doesn't. It just says when the first time it appears in Latin text.
Okay, so it appeared in New York.
Well, the first ever on record pizza establishment that opened in
Surely it
New
wasn't
York's
Chicago.
Little Italy.
Yeah, New York.
Because
Right.
that was when it first started. Yeah. Do you want to guess what year it was though? It's late. It's much later than you think.
In New York City.
In New York City, the first on
I don't know.
record pizza establishment.
1916.
1905. So actually earlier than I would have thought you'd go like earlier than that. Maybe.
Okay.
I might have thought 1800s because New York was around.
Right.
And if pizza was around in 997 AD, then. But yes, 1905.
You missed this, but can I tell you the one we didn't really have a lot of pizza parlors here, but Pasquale's at Meadowbrook was a pizza parlor.
I've heard all about it. Yeah.
Let me give you one more. Gibbs behind Nathan McCarty's Briarwood Wine and Spirits.
I don't know that one.
Well, if you could see over the counter, they'd serve you a beer.
The good old days.
Yeah. We went to a Super Bowl party there my junior year in high school. Sorry, I'm just going to call it.
Hello. Statute of limitations is officially out on that one.
Yeah. Well, yes. And this show's going to change slightly now that I'm officially today getting my youngest out of high school.
Hello.
You just got to be kind of guarded. You've got judgmental, moralist parents that can be a pain in the ass.
Can't imagine.
Yeah. So I'm thinking Pasquale's. You would have loved it.
I bet so. I've heard
knowing that you like. So I love local dives.
Mm-hmm.
I love places that look old, like Cherokee on State Street. Okay, and character,
Colt,
like George Street.
Oh yeah,
the fifth iteration back.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
The 1994 George Street.
Yeah.
Obviously, Siesta still looks like it's 1978.
Yeah, the original Cherokee would definitely be one of mine that I think about.
I do go to the Hal and Mouse, sit at the bar, and have lunch.
Absolutely.
Usually once a month if I'm going through, if I'm swinging back through seeing our Rankin County clients. And when I was down at, where was I? Oh, Canon Nissan. I was checking out the Nissan Pathfinder with Brandon. I hit Hal and Mouse. Now that's a dive, but Pasquale's would be a pizza parlor, Blake.
Yeah,
for sure.
No, absolutely. It's
yeah.
I've heard great things about it.
And so would Gibbs.
I've never heard.
And I'm trying to think what else. Mr. Gaddy's was not a pizza parlor. It was a place where kids ran around and, acted like crazy people. Wiped snot on the walls.
There's some.
Although I liked it.
There's
not
some
the
amazing
snot, the
pizza stats too and facts.
What was that place on? I had to come back and talk about it. Yeah, big board next.
What's on the big board? What's on the big board?
Monty Larry walks off Texas A&M, and Mississippi State, I haven't said this, is on a winning streak. Tip of the cap to KC Hunt. He could have folded like a cheap suit and just hung out in the dugout like some other, pitchers that do, just depending on the season, that do that. And he's out there throwing 100 pitches in mid-relief. And they were trying to do a combination of stay in the game and not burn their bullpen for the other, because Lamonis is trying to win every game he can to prove his worth. And KC Hunt, I know he walked 5, but he threw over 100 pitches. He got out of some jams. He made some really, really good 2-strike pitches. And, Amani Larry and Mershon and some others did what they had to do. So kudos to those guys for finding a way to win a couple of games down the stretch. And A&M has players. They may be trending the wrong way, but they have dudes. What about their 228 hitter deciding to go Jack? That guy's built like a stump. You run into those guys I think he's from probably, West Central East Texas and grew up eating tree bark. But
Talking about Ryan Targok, right?
yeah, I love – so Ryan Targok –
What a name.
he is definitely someone that sounds like he's in the CIA, right?
I could see that.
Yeah.
He's from Hallettsville, Texas, which sounds exactly like someone Ryan Targok's name would come from. Hallettsville, Texas. Yeah. I don't know where that is, but that's where he's from.
Well, you're from there.
I am from Texas. That is correct.
So that's on you. Congratulations to Hail State baseball on the win. It's hard to win. It is hard to win.
And down another big number again, just like Sunday's game against LSU.
Yeah.
Down big and just found a way to not get out of it all the way.
True.
It's incredible. I mean,
well, it is, really. And if you're going to beat up on Lamonis, you got to give him some credit for what they did last weekend, and they've already won a game this weekend. Can they win another one? I have no idea. But they didn't pitch Cade Smith. So
you like your chances there, I guess.
Not pitching Cade Smith, I think I talked about pitching backwards when, Blake, a few weeks ago?
Gosh, that going into, what was the series after Auburn? That was it, yeah.
So, and I know nothing. So, last night, I was cooking a steak and some fries, and I poured a Stella Artois. So that's how much I know. I didn't call a pitch. Didn't make a call to the bullpen either. Ole Miss lost to Bama. Never thought Mike Bianco would throw up this record. I would have lost a lot. That's a compliment to him. I would have lost a lot of money. Mike Bianco, this team just totally falling apart. Happened to Mississippi State last year coming off a national championship, and happened to Ole Miss this year. Dakota Jordan scored 3 times last night, Blake.
He's not very good at baseball, is he?
Well, we love for him to hit the jacks, but that walk late in the game that he took.
Yes, absolutely.
Because he wants to swing that stick, okay? And I don't blame him. Since he was 6 years old, nobody's been able to get him out. Now he's playing SEC ball, and there's a huge learning curve, regardless of who you are. And I want to give also Ross Highfield. There were some balls that could have gotten away from him between KC Hunt and Dome.
Yeah.
That could have changed the game.
Walked pitch, tied it up against A&M.
How much better is he since March 1?
He and Mershon.
Exponentially?
He and Mershon are the ones I go, these two kids with now a season under their belt, you see the growth potential on those two guys.
Yeah.
And it's really up the middle. Like I said, I could see Dakota Jordan moving to center field. You could have your 3 guys right up the middle all be same class, kind of leading the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. Highfield,
Mershon,
and
DJ. Yeah.
And Dakota Jordan, which is a really cool name. Out of Bounds, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Brought to you by Independent Roofing Systems. the number one commercial industrial roofing company in Mississippi for 40 years. Independent Roofing Systems, commercial, industrial, roofing.ms. Joe Knockin and the team doing a great job. Independent Roofing Systems, roofing.ms. Show's also presented by Mudbugs. Crawfish, baseball, sunshine, I don't know, graduation party, whatever you're doing. Best crawfish in Mississippi, Mudbugs at the Res, and Mudbugs downtown Brandon. Show is also presented by Sound and Communications, soundcomav.com. Shout out to that team out there by RPT Commercial, soundcomav.com. Mississippi State will play today. Ole Miss will play today. The only team that got postponed was Missouri Auburn.
That's right. Which does matter in the very, 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 very small chance that Mississippi State could make it to Hoover.
Yeah.
They need Missouri to lose, and they need Georgia to lose.
Yeah.
Throughout the weekend, and you have to still win. I mean, you got to do your part. So, still, insanely outside chance, but I guess there is technically a chance.
Amani Larry was 3 for 4.
Yeah, he had a career game, maybe. I don't know.
2 home runs.
He was fantastic.
And a double, yeah.
Yeah. You look at the guys that, like we talked about, they've added good pieces. If they had the 8th best pitching staff in the SEC, they'd be a clear 2 seed.
Yeah, maybe a 1.
Yeah.
Maybe not a national, but
that's
8
the
to
crazy
16.
part.
I know.
They don't even have to be a top 6 staff. They could be the 8th or 9th staff and still be well within not only regional play, but potential hosting a regional. So
right.
It's been a tough year for Chris Lemonis, but maybe not quite as off the rails as it looked at times.
True. Because they missed so much, they had to rely on some, too many new people, and that's just,
early.
Yeah, that's just what happened. All right, we're gonna have Lee Sterling on at 8:30. Talk about sports betting and the trends and patterns that we're seeing now that it's been legal since 2018. We've had $220 billion in legal sports wagers.
Woo!
How much do you think we've had under the table? It's impossible to quantify, unfortunately.
220 billion.
220 billion since the Supreme Court passed.
That is crazy.
Oh, 220 billion. $3 billion in tax revenue for the states to date.
A little money making.
Their focus is legal and regulated sports books. And for you guys that love them, and I know you do, it is proven that parlays are a noted loss leader. That's why FanDuel and DraftKings push them. I'm just reading this article off of frontofficesports.com.
You mean if I go on a 9-game NFL parlay every Sunday, I'm not going to come out a millionaire?
No.
Oh, man. There goes my retirement fund.
Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports at 8:30 on. Now that we've been doing this for, close to 5 years, what are the patterns and trends that we're seeing in the world of sports betting? I was a big winner in March Madness. Somebody's got to continue the deal. And some of you are betting on the NBA playoffs, the PGA Championship. Are you cheering for Bryson DeChambeau?
He's in second place right now, Bo.
What?
Oh, no, he's in first.
I was about to say, this morning at ESPN, he was, when I checked.
Corey Connors was at neg 4. They are finishing round 1, so he may have tied DeChambeau and then gone back down.
Okay.
So, yeah, he's now at he's still sitting at neg 4. Corey Connors, who was neg 4, is now 3 down. So, but yeah, that's exciting. Scotty Scheffler up there at 3 down. Dustin Johnson at 3 down.
Scotty Scheffler.
Live golf leader, Dustin Johnson, 3 down.
Did Dustin was he trying to acknowledge that he may have hurt his back in bed?
Yeah. Correct. I think that's accurate.
Okay.
You got to be careful when you're a pro athlete now.
Well, is he married or are they still girlfriend, boyfriend to Gretzky's daughter?
I would have to look that up. I can check
Okay.
out.
All right. The Big Board is brought to you by Independent Roofing Systems, the #1 commercial industrial roofing company in Mississippi, roofing.ms, powered by Independent Roofing Systems. Okay. All right. You can watch the show on YouTube. Search Out of Bounds Sports. It's a Michelob Ultra Friday. Compliments of Mudbugs. Michelob Ultra. Ice cold. Cold beer. Michelob Ultra Friday. Powered by Mudbugs, the best crawfish in Mississippi. Mudbugs at the reservoir. Mudbugs. And Mudbugs downtown Brandon. You can get a to-go order. 15 pounds or so, 30. Or take a crew, bring a group, and throw down in a good way at Mudbugs in the reservoir and downtown Brandon. We are the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Mississippi State with the win. They're on a winning streak. They're on a winning streak, and they won last night, 10-8. Amani Larry had a night.
Yeah, two bombies and a walk-off. Is there anything more? It's hard to imagine anything more exhilarating than a walk-off bomb in sports. It's tough.
No, burying a three
to win. Yeah,
and a walk-off touchdown.
Which the walk-off touchdown doesn't happen as much.
Right. But, if you can do that through the air, the ground's cool. But, man, if you throw a pass, that's pretty.
The one I immediately think of when I think of exciting plays that, like, if I could do anything, right, if I could have one exciting play in my life, I think about that Minneapolis
I knew you were going to say that.
Well, because it's the only, it's the true, that I can think of. It's the biggest moment walk-off touchdown that I can think of in modern football.
Well, and you want to continue you want to continue the process of Saints fans hating you.
Yeah. To be fair, it's not my fault you choked on every main stage except for 1 year. I will say I thought Ho Bowles was going to punch me in the face that day. It was the funniest thing to me.
I'm surprised he didn't.
He was so just sad and depressed and mad.
Devastated.
Yeah, devastated. Because that was a stretch of actual Super Bowl caliber teams. Whether they would have won it or not, nobody knows. But that one and the Rams one that they got hosed on, those two teams were capable of playing in a Super Bowl.
Yes. Those two teams, the Minneapolis Miracle and the Rams.
Hose job.
That was one of the worst calls in the history of football.
It has to be.
That one was in the Superdome.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't believe the way that would. I mean, both of them, you couldn't believe the way they played out. 0.001% plays. I mean, on both sides, just insane.
Well, Amani Larry walked off Mississippi State against A&M.
Yeah, that would be a great moment.
I didn't realize he was that big. Once they took his shirt off, it's hard when you're on that team right now because Dakota Jordan is just a physical freak, regardless of baseball team. And he had a walk-off, I guess, right? Because I picture him without his shirt on at some point.
That was the Ole Miss game.
Okay, all right. So, anyway, yeah.
Game two.
That was the Ole Miss.
After he struck out game one, comes back game two.
You're right.
Yeah.
But Amani Larry for a second baseman, dude is ripped.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like you said, when you're compared to all the size around you, it's hard to look big. But that dude is jacked. Yeah.
He's jacked.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's been in the weight room. He
gotten down he got down to get that first home run too. The second one was a better pitch, but that first home run he put out almost the same spot. He had to get low to get too. It was a heck of a hit.
Let's go. Speaking of, the SEC Insider Hit is brought to you by your next John Deere tractor at any Ag Up equipment dealership, including one in Canton and one in Pearl. Manage your land. John Deere, America's tractor, Ag Up Equipment, agup.com. And our text line this morning is 601-885-3776, 885-3776. And on Pizza Party Day, we're going to give away a gift certificate to Sal and Mookie's in Madison because it's right here. And they have amazing pizza. They're open for lunch and dinner. Patrick does a great job. So we'll give away a what do I have here, Blake? A $40 gift certificate.
Perfect.
To Sal and Mookie's in Madison. Sal and Mookie's in Madison, pizza party day. Weigh in on your favorite pizza. It can be a couple of things. Your favorite pizza parlor, pizza dive. We've had some good ones. I mentioned Pasquale's by Meadowbrook. Gibbs. I don't know if their pizza was that good. I don't remember. They served beer. And I had to think back just for a second. Maybe their food was pretty good. And was that did the same guy who owned the Dutch bar own Gibbs? I don't think I have that right, but y'all help me out. It's right behind Briarwood Wine and Spirits. Actually, Nathan now uses it as storage for all of his spirits and wine and so on. Now, somebody mentioned another spot. Oh, that there is still a Pasquale's in Greenville. Yeah, I see it. When I go up to the Steve Azar Celebrity Golf charity event every year, which they've raised a ton of money for Mississippi Delta kids, which is awesome. And we'll be up there in 2 weeks. I see it. And I took my son there. Oh, gosh. This was a few years back. We went up to a soccer tournament. And it was cold that weekend. And in the Delta, you play out in these fields. There's nothing to block the wind. No. And it was one of those weekends where the wind this was like January, February. I can't remember. And he had something at MRA. So we had to leave. He had a dance or something. This was like 7th, 8th grade. And then we had to drive to Greenville that night, which was awesome. And then, when I'm going up there for the Azar event, you got a little bit more going on. But anyway, I did take him to Doe's the next day. He was blown away. And we sat in the kitchen. And he couldn't wrap his brain around it.
That's a unique experience. Yeah. The kitchen table, chef's table, as they like to call them in the fancy restaurants, that's a cool, especially when you're in that like 10 to 15 range where everything is bigger than life too. That's a cool experience.
We met this guy and his son. I really didn't know him. And we had dinner at Doe's that night, but I took him to Pasquale's the next day or the next. I don't remember how long it went. When you get in the Delta and you get into like day 2, it's kind of like being in Omaha, Nebraska. You feel like you've been there a week. And so there's nothing better than driving into the Delta. Okay? You just get excited. I always talk about cocktails in the Delta. If you're going, I don't know how many shows we've done up there, but it's a million. There's something about driving up there and people hosting you. It's the most wonderful people in the world. Mm. And then 2 nights later, you're like,
get me out of here.
Yeah. You're like, I need to get back and sweat and do some things. Because like time stops.
Is it a little like the coast? I feel like it's kind of stuck in a little bit of an older style.
Yeah, but the coast is 9 million times faster. Like when you can feel the energy when you drive into the Beau Rivage Hard Rock.
I was thinking more like the basic, like I was thinking like the little bit of rustic
those
coast.
Are two, okay. Yeah. So that you've done more of that than the other.
Correct.
I've done a million shows from the Beau and the Hard Rock and IP and wherever else they put us.
That place is bustling now. I mean,
it's I don't care if it's a Monday night.
It's crazy out there.
You can walk in and see people and people are ready to party.
Yeah. But the Delta reminds me of more like the rural coastal towns where it's still kind of a harken to the olden days vibe.
No doubt.
A little slower, a little simpler.
So when you get to Azar's event and you check into the hotel and you go over to the Greenville Country Club, it's very chill and cool. And there's just everybody's chill. Mm. You just go up, you get a cold beer.
Slow, relaxed party.
And then the first night you go to Doe's. My point on all that was Pasquale's. And we're giving away a $40 gift certificate to Sal and Mookie's in Madison. So best pizza joint, dive parlor, and your favorite pizza via the agup.com text line, 601-885-3776. And don't forget on Friday's show is brought to you by Independent Roofing Systems. By far and away the #1 commercial and industrial roofing company in Mississippi. Independent Roofing Systems. Bo Bounds, Blake Scott. We'll have Lee Sterling on at 8:30. We'll talk about we're 5 years into sports betting being legal. What are the patterns? What are the trends? Where are we going? 220 billion, over 220 billion has been bet legally in Mississippi, in Vegas, in New Jersey, in Ohio, and wherever. And we've got some really cool sports books. We represent one. It's probably, I don't know, 12,000 plus square feet, maybe 15,000 square feet. The Golden Moon Casino Sportsbook and Lounge. Got a cool feel, really comfortable leather chairs, places that you can grab two or three. You know, you can have two or three guys kind of sitting around, taking a couple, doing a couple bets on the PGA Championship, the NBA playoffs, whatever else, all the futures for NFL and college football this season. They have a full bar and food at the Golden Moon Casino Sportsbook and Lounge. So we'll have Lee Sterling on, handicapper to the gods, ParamountSports.com at 8:30, and we'll discuss the most bet. I think y'all know something, the most bet events. Where are we headed? The trends, the patterns, and what we need to look for this football season and beyond. Also, the streaming buzz is continuing, and Peacock just paid $110 million to stream one playoff game. I want you to think about that. The NFL has given this a shot. They're kind of seeing what's going on. One, because Amazon is so difficult to negotiate with. It's very rare that anybody will do that to the NFL, because most people are hat in hand and walking into the NFL and they want a slice of the pizza and a piece of the real estate, because all the top 50 TV shows are NFL games every year. And, that kind of TV is going out the window other than sporting events. And Peacock paid $110 million to stream one wild card game.
Dead presidents printed on paper, cash money.
How about that?
$110 million for one game.
One game.
As an ancillary streaming service to a cable television network.
I was about to say, they're owned by NBC.
Not Amazon or Google / YouTube, right? Who is creating a fully only digital platform. You're NBC, who already does NFL, and now you bought a purely streamed only ancillary one-off game. That's crazy. And now ESPN's talking about ESPN's talking about offering their own direct-to-consumer streaming package that eliminates the need for cable to have ESPN.
Well, you're referencing this article in the Wall Street Journal.
It's crazy where we're headed.
It is. ESPN plans to stream flagship channel, eyeing cable's TV demise. And their internal project code is named Flagship, lays out shift in coming years as talks with leagues and cable partners have begun, including who? The NBA. It doesn't look like they're going to give it up, but it's going to be a direct deal, and so with that, and also you saw this within the last couple of days with the ACC meetings. SEC's meeting next week. No,
2 weeks, right?
I think it's the next.
Yeah,
but and I'm hoping that Ole Miss and Mississippi State and LSU and Auburn and A&M and Bama and all these teams that we talk about get your permanent schedule, so that we can really start to look at who will be your either one or three, but most of us believe 3 permanent and 6 rotating, right? 6 rotating opponents for the Southeastern Conference. But Andy Staples threw this out on the Twitters. He's not the first, as he recognized, that with all the cord cutting, are the leagues going to look at this and say, why are we giving the middleman a cut?
Bang, 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 winner.
I think Greg Sankey is sitting there thinking, we'll just create our own production, which basically they have with Disney, ESPN, SEC Network, and we'll just produce all the games.
We're getting so splintered to the point where it's almost impossible to be able to consume television and live sports on one platform at all.
Right.
I mean, it's become almost so. If you love let's say you're just basic cable. Well, if you like the NFL, you got to have Amazon Prime if you want to watch Thursday Night Football. You're now going to need the Peacock app if you want to watch that wild card game. ESPN is doing NFL, so you got to make sure you have that subscription if you don't have it on cable. Like, there's so many things that you're doing as a fan now, just to consume sports, it's like, what's the end game here? It started as a cost-cutting measure, and now it costs you twice as much because you got to have 16 different subscriptions.
That's true, and I don't know how that will be consolidated going forward, but I can promise you there are plenty of people that have been on it for years and are thinking about it night and day, and it'll all work itself out, kind of like a menu. We always talk about life's a menu. You decide what you want to do, right? And so appetizers, entrees, desserts, or, bourbon list, wine list, whatever. Speaking of, the Out of Bounds show is brought to you by the Charbroiled Oysters at Drago's. Charbroiled Oysters at Drago's. Blake, will you get me a leaderboard update, please, sir, for the PGA Championship? And we'll talk a little Edwin Watts Golf Shop on County Line Road, which is right across from Drago's Seafood Restaurant and Oyster Bar. Congratulations to the Southern Miss Golden Eagles for their 14th straight win. Scott Berry, in his last year at Southern Miss, is winning big again. They have won 14 straight. They will be in the postseason, and we just have to see what that looks like for the Southern Miss Golden Eagles. What will they hosted a regional and super regional last year. In Scott Berry's last year with Tanner Hall and the crew, what is it going to look like for the crew out of Hattiesburg? You feel like Christian Ostrander will be their next head coach, a very decorated player and assistant coach. And, Delta State, Jones Junior College, La Tech, now Southern Miss. This could work out very well for Southern Miss. But they're thinking about this year. They're thinking about this team.
Yep.
How many games can they win? How far can they advance? And where will they end up? And who will they draw in the postseason? Southern Miss has won 14 straight baseball games. I don't care who you are. That's difficult to do.
Incredible.
High school, college, much less MLB.
And after having not as bad as State and Ole Miss, but having a rocky start to the season. It wasn't sunshine and rainbows through the year.
It was not.
And so to get that back together and get it on track, I think State and Ole Miss fans probably sit here and go, well, if we can't win it, it would be cool to see Scott Berry and Southern Miss, make a deep run towards Omaha. They've only been once, which it's so much harder to go as a G5 than it is a P5.
It is.
Like.
It is.
You just get things and the one
Corky
time they had
Palmer took them in like 2009.
Yeah, and the one time you had a super regional, you got paired up with the hottest team in the country.
Yeah.
Just unlucky.
It was.
You play almost anyone else, you got a better
That
chance.
hasn't sat well. The fact that Mississippi State went down there and beat them in a regional several years ago, and Ole Miss beat them in a super regional last year.
Both in Hattiesburg. Yeah, that hurts you.
But Scott Berry's done an amazing job. I don't think he'll ever buy a cheeseburger and a beer in Hattiesburg, or he should not. And he's a cool dude.
I haven't seen, I know Mason Irby was on the show yesterday, former Southern Miss baseball player, and he talked about being there.
Did you hear he asked me for hitting advice?
Yeah, that's what he was like. I'm trying to
get
that
bat over there that Jake Mangum gave us and Brent Rooker gave us. I got that bat out, and I had to show him. It's all about when you're coming back through in the hips.
Barrel path, right?
Yeah. And so he was taking notes over there. I think he was going to pass it along to Scott Berry tonight as they're going to recognize Coach Berry at Southern Miss.
Well, my point of that was, and it's too late to do it now, but if Southern Miss's marketing team was smart, you know what they would have had at the stadium for all those fans?
What?
Hard hats.
Oh, yeah.
The whole stadium should have been in hard hats for Scott Berry tonight.
You're right.
They won't have done it because, but that would have been the play.
That would have been incredible. And then
Correct.
You even if you did the small ones.
You could have made
the one
cheap
at Smith
ones.
Wills, and
Yeah.
then everybody could have gotten ice cream in them.
Anything. That should have been the moniker to say thank you to Scott Berry.
They can still do it. You're right. It was a little bit quick turnaround, but maybe they can do it next year, too.
Do like a Scott Berry night. And
No. I'd sell
year.
them all year.
Well, yeah, you're talking about I just meant like Ashby One's fan, like first 3,000 fans in the stadium get a Scott Berry replica.
I got you.
Because, the M-Braves have those like, they're not as nice and as expensive as the real ones, right? They're like what they serve the helmet nachos in, but you could still get it on
We
your
have
head.
a real helmet.
Exactly. But you could do
Where
like
is it?
you could do a cheap knockoff plastic version of Scott Berry's helmet and then do like first 3,000 fans on Scott Berry night,
I like it.
I like that idea too.
All right, we got a few minutes here. I want to get back into food. I mean, I like sports, but I love food. I love sports, but I really, really love food. We're live in the BankPlus Studio. The Out of Bounds Show is brought to you by Independent Roofing Systems, the #1 commercial and industrial roofing company in Mississippi. Look at the projects they've completed. Roofing.ms. Roofing.ms. Independent Roofing Systems. So we were talking pizza parlors. Somebody weighed in here, and I have to know what this is. Oh, my gosh. Did you see this?
From White Denzel? Or which one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the jerk chicken cranberry pizza at C.A. Sarducci's
Yeah, he says it's in Gulfport.
in Gulfport.
I didn't know. I had to ask.
I'm going back down there in mid-June to meet the Tito's guys. I may have to hit this place.
You know what it looks, and I could be wrong, but that looks like it has pineapple on it. Are you a pineapple on pizza?
I'm not.
That's a big argument.
I'm not a pineapple on pizza guy, but I can order it. It still would look amazing without pineapple.
Yeah, I bet it's delicious though. Jerk chicken plus the pineapple and cranberry. Ooh,
Dang.
sweet and spicy. I could do that.
And he gave us a picture. That's beautiful. All right, so I mentioned Pasquale's at Meadowbrook. I mentioned Gibbs behind Briarwood Wine and Spirits, which is where we want you to go to get your Patron Reposado, Patron Añejo, or Patron Extra Añejo, which is super. It's all super premium. But look, top of the line, Patron Extra Añejo. It is delicious. Where was I going there?
Unnamed texter says his favorite pizza is the CBGB from Salamuki's. That's also my favorite pizza.
It is. You get very territorial about
It's pepperoni and roasted garlic and cheese, and it is fire. It is so good.
Yeah, we both had it last time we were there.
It's the Tuesday slice.
I get a side of red sauce to dip in.
Yeah. Yeah. It's when you go for the weekly slices, they do Monday or not Monday because they're closed. They do Tuesday through Friday, lunch special, the pizza and salad. It's the Tuesday pizza slice. The CBGB.
It's the Tuesday?
It's the Tuesday slice. You can get it every day as a whole pizza, but if you want it as the slice for lunch, it's Tuesdays.
Mansplained on our agup.com text line said, Brooks said getting to Omaha is not hard. Do you have that? Can we play that on the other side?
We can,
okay.
Absolutely.
All right, good morning. Welcome in. We are the Out of Bounds Show, driven by your next John Deere tractor at Ag Up Equipment. That's any of the Ag Up Equipment dealerships. They're John Deere tractor dealerships. Ag Up Equipment in Mississippi. Manage your land. John Deere, America's tractor. Ag Up Equipment. Kyle Fulcher and the crew would be happy to help you manage your land, your farm, your hunting camp at any Ag Up Equipment dealership. Yazoo City, Canton, Pearl, McGee, Hattiesburg, many others. AgUp.com. We're live in the BankPlus Studio. Show is brought to you by the amazing charbroiled oysters at Drago's, right across from Edwin Watts Golf Shop on County Line Road. Bryson DeChambeau was the leader coming out of round one. We still got to kind of wrap up some of round one. We talked about the cold weather up in New York. But our leaderboard updates today will be brought to you by Edwin Watts Golf Shop on County Line Road. Did Dustin Johnson tell us that basically he may have hurt his back in bed with his wife, Paulina Gretzky? I don't know. You tell me. We've got the audio. So agup.com, the charbroiled oysters at Drago's, and Edwin Watts Golf Shop to take your game to another level. Lee Sterling, 8:30.